it's for beneficial for compassion, rebirth, mirroring and energetic pathways, throat, inflammation, thyroid and parathyroid, tissue and blood vessels, fluid balance, weight control, lungs, arms, and sunburn. It says that it's formed from celestite that has compressed over a million of years of one stone of awareness for the new age. Angelite represents peace and brotherhood, facilitating conscious contact with angelic realm. It enhances telepathic communications and enables out-of-body journeys to take place while still contact with everyday reality. Angelite has been used to enhance astrological understanding and to bring deeper understanding of mathematics. This is powerful stone for healers, and it deepens attunement, heightens perception, and provides protection for the environment or the body. It encourages you to speak the truth and to be more accepting, alleviating psychological pain and counteracting cruelty. Angelite transmutes disorder into wholeness.
I'm liking that one. I like the name as well, you know.
I knew you would like that
one. Me and Angels and a crystal called Angelite sounds amazing. Sounds awesome. I haven't got any of that, and I've not heard of it before. So that's good to know. Good to know. So can everybody hear now? Hellhawk 7, have you sorted yourself out? Okay. I don't know, there's still some, and Eden saying we need a sound engineer. That's a friend of mine who's a sound engineer. So, yeah. We're there. All right. So any more crystals that you think are really spot on?
Yeah, just one more. And this one wasn't on the website, but I've been using it for under my pillow too. And I feel like it helped me have dreams.
You have a lot of rocks under your pillow. Then.
Yes, I do. I put them in a little pouch. I put it in a little pouch. Okay, so this one is called fuchsite, or I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Stick it up. Let's have a look. Come back.
It looks like it's
so the camera comes to you. I can't see it when it's tiny, right?
Fuck shit. Fuck shit.
I think it's
fuchsite. I think that's right. I don't know.
Yes. It's this one, and it has a glittery kind of.
Oh, I got some of that.
Oh, you got some of that?
I got some of that, yeah.
And it's like sparkly, silvery sparkly.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Julie, you always have some big, huge crystals, and I have like this tiny little.
You heard it here first.
I've been around crystals for 20 years, so my kids love it because every time it's my birthday or Christmas, what do we get, Mum? I know, we'll get her another crystal, or we'll get her a candle, or we'll get her an angel. I'm so easy to buy for.
Yeah, I just started my collections, but I do want to grow my collection. But anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and just say, what is this for? It says, you can find it in Switzerland, Russia, Austria, Czech Republic, Brazil, New Mexico, Canada, India, Italy, Scotland, Germany, Austria, Finland, Madagascar, Afghanistan, Dominican Republic. And in the chakra part, it says past life. And the number that resonates with it is a number 9. The zodiac sign is Aquarius. The ruling planet is Mercury. And it says, carrying the generic properties of Muscovite, fuchsite amplifies the energy of crystals and facilitates into transfer to speed up the healing process, channeling practical information regarding herbal treatment and holistic remedies, demonstrating how to be of service without becoming embroiled in power struggles or false humility. It helps you deal with issues of servitude from past or present lives, reversing a tendency, a martyr, survivor, rescuer roles. Combining unconditional and tough love, fuchsite shows how to stand by placidly while someone else learns his or her own lesson. It is helpful for the identified patient within a family or a group situations on whom disease and tension are projected. Fusite gives the identified patient the strength to find wellness and helps restore emotional equilibrium after confrontation. Oh my gosh.
Yay! Round of applause for Anna, please. All that reading and all those long names. Whoa, Anna, take
Oh my gosh.
And
Sorry.
I'm feeling a bit demasculated because now I found out Anna has a big sack of stones, and you heard it here first. Julie Stone has some big. I mean, Julie Stone. Julie Poole has some big stones too, as she showed us.
Yeah. So anyways, that was my
I just got these two little crystals, man. I feel a little.
Yeah, but Ransom, your energy is so phenomenal. You don't need them, mate. You don't need them. All right.
Kidding.
You know, maybe after 20 years of me being around this stuff, that's why my energy is so high, because I surrounded myself with crystals for all these years, getting slowly bigger and bigger and bigger. So
I like dream catchers, that last one, about catching negative vibes and all that stuff. That's basically what these dream catchers are. You know, the symbology behind it is to when the sun comes up, it destroys negative energies and stuff.
That's awesome.
You're actually supposed to have this on the east wall, though, and I have it on the south. But it is wintertime, and the sun is mostly on the south right now, so maybe it'll still.
We're good. We're good. So hello to Karina. Hellhawk7, thank you for finally getting to us. Sorry it took you so long. Heathen Breathing Fire, hello, my darling. How are you over there in California? Say hello to the sunshine. We've got snow tomorrow. So we're going to talk about dreams from lots of different perspectives tonight. I'm sorry that we're running late, guys. That's my fault. I'm really sorry. So from my perspective as a therapist, dreams are coming from your subconscious, and they are messages from your subconscious, helping you to figure out what's going on under the surface. Stuff that it brings up from the shadow side up to conscious awareness through our dreams. Now, as an energy reader as well, I use a lot of this when I'm doing therapy with people. And I'll say to them, keep a note of your dreams when we're doing these sessions, because stuff that we haven't got to in the session, your subconscious will bring up during your dream time, which then I'll ask you about your dreams. You'll tell me, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I know where we need to go now, because your subconscious is showing you. Okay. So the main thing to know about dreams is that it is your subconscious's way of trying to give you a message. And so those dreams are representative. They're not actual. Okay, it's kind of what you need to do is drill down. Okay, I'm going to talk about the general for a minute, and then I'd like you to post your dreams in the comments, and I'll try and interpret them for you or give you an idea about what they mean. But it's about what does it represent. You go under the surface. So for example, many of us have dreams about being chased, okay, or being attacked. By dogs or by people or by energy, you know, something's after me, I'm running, I'm being chased. That's quite a big dream. And that is showing you that underneath your subconscious, in a deeper part of you, feels insecure and afraid about something. And we've got to then drill down to go, right, well, what is it that you're afraid of? Another very normal dream is falling. That we're falling and falling and falling. And another normal dream, which is one of the most popular dreams, is toilet dreams. Or as you lot in America call it, bathroom dreams, okay? When I'm going to the bathroom. In the UK, we call it the toilet. You know, spades a bloody spade over it.
Well, you guys are right. There's no bathing involved with going to the bathroom.
No, it's not.
It's the body.
Potty, yeah, toilet dreams, potty dreams, all right, they're all about as feeling exposed and vulnerable. Okay, so when we have dreams about going to the toilet's over flooding or something like that, you know, and it's all there, that's all about I'm scared of everybody seeing my deeper shit, my deeper vulnerabilities, my deepest insecurities. I don't want people to know. We often have these dreams when we're in therapy because all our deeper vulnerabilities are coming up and we're feeling worried about being judged. Thank you, Heathen Breathing Fire. That's very nice of you. You wouldn't believe how many layers of makeup I've got on my face to look like this. Heathen Breathing Fire saying I'm looking beautiful.
I can totally agree with that because when I was a kid, I remember I told you last time that a psychologist helped me out with some dream stuff. And he really didn't come at it to me with like a mental health perspective. He was just like, nah, this is just a trick that is a known thing. But I used to wet the bed. And part of that is I had a fear about people knowing that sometimes I wet the bed. So in the dream, I would be like in my underwear, feeling vulnerable, walking around like in a public space, feeling, you know, naked or whatever. But he showed me how to, you know, control my dream more so that didn't happen. And but that's exactly what that was, is the more that happened to me as a kid, the more I had a fear about people knowing about it. So in the dream, it would become more prevalent of the focus of the dream that I was naked and I had to go to the bathroom. And like I in the dream, you couldn't find a place to go, or you thought you were at the right place and then you went. And then, of course, you wake up and damn it.
Or we're in the bathroom, in the toilet, and there is somebody standing next to us. There's no cubicle, there's no privacy. That's quite a normal one too. And this is, again, I feel very exposed. We also have dreams very often where, I don't say very often, but a regular dream would be somebody close to you died in the dream, and you wake up in, you know, all upset and everything hasn't it felt very real. What does that mean? It's very simple. You're just afraid of losing that person. You realize how attached you are to that person, and there is an insecurity there about, I realize how much I need them and love them. What the hell would I do if they weren't here? And that fear comes up through your dreams. It doesn't mean they're going to die. Your dreams are not showing you something that's going to happen. All right, there are two types of dreams. There are the dreams I'm talking about here, which is your subconscious's way of showing you something. And then there is psychic dreams, which are messages. All right, we'll talk about them as well. But let's carry on with the subconscious.
It's very interesting, Julie. I want to hear about that.
Well, the psychic dreams that will give you insight. Yeah, okay. So one question's come up. Well, Eden is asking, why do our feet feel heavy as lead when you're running in your dreams? That's a really typical one. Yeah, you're running but you can't get fast enough, or it's not, you know, you're not getting away. Your feet being heavy is basically saying that I feel under attack, I feel vulnerable, I feel that people are having a go. It'll usually be because you've had conflict with neighbors or family or somebody, and that plays out in your dream where you're trying to run away, your feet are not letting you, and basically it's saying, your subconscious is saying that what you feel inside is, I want to get the hell away from this conflict and I can't, I feel trapped. And so your dreams are always about kind of drill under the surface and say, well, what does that mean? So give me another one. Give me another dream that, you know, what does this mean? What does that mean? And I won't necessarily be able to answer it, but
I would have took that dream different if I would have had it though. I would have felt like there's something that's holding me down from something I want to attain. And the more that I try to get it, the more I'm held down by myself.
Right.
Like,
okay.
I've had dreams of fighting similar, like where I felt like I needed to hold back. And in the dream, I was really slow and couldn't defend myself. But the other people are all fast. That's a real similar thing of being, you know, your fears holding you back of something.
But see, that's a different dream. If you're in your scenario there where your feet are like lead, you're not trying to escape, you're trying to catch up, or people are going faster than you and you can't get there. That in that interpretation, yes, your feet are your fear is that you're being held back. Your fears are holding you back. Your insecurities are holding you back. But when we have a dream of we're being chased and we're trying to escape, and our feet are like lead, and we know we can run faster, but we can't because of these lead feet.
You can't get away from your problems there.
It's saying you can't get away from your problems and you want to. Yeah, absolutely.
Someone on my Great White Hunter said, Oh man, I lost it. Something about Bigfoot that he learned. Okay, it said, I dream of Bigfoot pulling my arm. Woke up and my arm is in the air.
Yeah, we can have these dreams where physically our body is doing what our dream thinks we're doing. All right, you know, you can have a dream where you wake up and you're upside down in the bed and think, how did that happen? You know, I went to bed with my head on the pillow and I woke up with my head down the bottom. You know, we can move around in our sleep, and that's absolutely fine. Your body is thinking that this is real, it's moving around, because in the dream it feels real, doesn't it? So yeah, don't worry about that. We can get a dead arm as well. We can wake up with all sorts of physical symptoms from the dream. If we've had
the dream,
numb arms.
Yeah, there was a lady. I don't know if it was a lady or a man, but from your channel, Julie, that was you told us a minute ago that was having the dreams about the hordes of spiders and snakes.
Yeah,
coming at them, and I was saying while you were messing with your stuff that I don't know about psychology. I haven't really read into it. We did last night a little bit. I was checking into some stuff, and but like that dream just seems like it's not a really positive or negative thing. It's more like just feeling overwhelmed with stuff, unless they have a specific fear of spiders and snakes. But other than that, it's like things coming at you, overwhelmed. I don't know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Spot on. I completely agree. It's, you know, we've got in this day and age certain things that we've been conditioned to fear, like spiders and snakes, you know, that it's dangerous, they're dangerous. And so in dreams, when we get loads of spiders or snakes and stuff, it's basically saying I feel overwhelmed, I feel threatened, I feel at risk. And that's basically can be to do with your job, your work, being overloaded, overburdened, and it's a need of I can't cope with this. Your dreams are showing you what you're dealing with, what you're handling, and what you're not handling. So Freud started this. His book, The Interpretation of Dreams, came out. I think it was 1892, 93, something like that, and it was the first ever book on interpreting dreams. And he was using it in he's a psychiatrist. He was using it in his psychiatric practice, and he was the first person to say that I think your dreams are actually showing you something deeper that's going on in the subconscious. Right. And really, again, this was only you know, that hypnosis was developed in the 1700s, and this is when they first identified the subconscious and dreams coming up then. And then Freud took it forward more to 200 years later and came up with this book, which was a massive bestseller. Everybody was buying it, and it's what set Freud up to be this massive, you know, very famous psychiatrist. He lost a lot of credit when he had his whole, you know, theory about psychosexual, that every issue starts with a psychological issue, and really you're in love with your mother. All of that has been dismissed ever since, because his whole theories were based on that he was in love with his stepmother. And he was sexually attracted to his stepmother, so he was coming from his own perspective. But he was 15 when his father married his stepmother, who was 22, and she was gorgeous, and she was only 7 years older than him. So it would be completely appropriate for him to fancy her. But in his mind, because she was a mother figure, it was sick, and he, you know, he went all to cock there basically. But
yeah, and that would have been really actually completely normal for him to have feelings for a woman that's not much older than him.
Yeah, but he started exploring this, that everything was about sexual repression.
About your mother.
Yeah.
I had to do that one.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna. Sorry for interrupting. I wanted to say a dream about that I had about leeches.
Right.
But no, I interrupted you, so I'm sorry.
So leeches, what do leeches do? Think about it. Dreams, when you want to try and interpret your dreams, step back and just be logical. What do leeches do? They suck the blood out of you. What is blood? It's your life force. So something or someone is sucking the life out of me. And I need it to stop. Now, then you look at who or what. Is it your job, your boss? Is it your partner? Is it your children? Something someone is sucking the life out of you and you're not being aware of it, because we live most of our time in la la land. We're busy doing the cooking and the cleaning and looking after the kids and going to work, and we're not looking at our behavior. We're not looking at our deepest fears. We're not looking at our insecurities. We live on the surface where everything is rosy. We're doing the swan thing, where we're gliding along, but underneath we're paddling like mad to try and stay afloat. And our dreams are showing us the paddling, okay? And they're going, poke, poke, you need to look at this. So leeches, who's sucking the life out of you? Yeah.
And that is so correct, because when I started having those kind of dreams, I was going through some rough situation in my life. And it was funny because, well, not funny, it's just odd that the leeches were in certain places of my body that was meaning something.
Right. Yeah.
So,
where they are will have different meanings as well. So yeah, when I'm working with a client, I go into the detail of where and what was going on. So another popular dream that people have is to do with transport. They're on a bus or a coach or a train, or they're trying to get in a car and they can't open the door and the car's going without them, or the train's going without them, or they've missed the bus. So basically anything to do with transport, any form of transport, from planes to cars and everything in between. Transport represents your journey through life. Okay. Now, when we're missing the bus, the boat, the plane, the train, it's saying, I feel that life is going on without me. I don't feel that I'm fully participating. I want to get involved. I want to get on the bus. I want to get on the train. But this holding me back. And then we look at what is your dream showing you? Were you running and you couldn't catch it in time? Were you being held back? Was there something in the way? Was there a barrier? So we drill into it and find out a bit more. Let me have a look at some of the comments, and you have a look at yours, Anna, see if we've got other questions about dreams.
So that was that's like a big fear of being left behind, like with life and everything.
Yeah. We tend to see it a lot with people who are ill, people who've had long-term illness, more than 6 months or something, that they'll have a lot of dreams about transport, and, they're squashed in the back seat with other people, and they haven't got a room. And that'll be,
they're not driving their life also, so they're just a passenger on it.
Yes. Exactly. Where are you, in the back seat or the front seat? Are you a passenger or are you driving your bus? Who's in charge of your life and your journey? So all of these dreams are trying to show us, this is all your subconscious trying to show you what's going on underneath. I'm just going to look at some of the comments, because the whole point of this was for people to be able to ask, what does my dream mean?
Mrs. Seven has a good question. She asks, what does it mean if you dream in the third person?
Okay. So there's a detachment there. We're detached from the situation. It's a defense mechanism. So our dreams are always about us. But if we find it a bit too hairy, scary to really acknowledge that, it will be somebody else's dream we're observing. All right. So it's a way of detaching yourself. So instead of you being in it, it's like you're watching a film when somebody else is acting it, or it's somebody it's your daughter's dream, or your daughter's in the dream, but it's your situation. Okay. So it's a way that we're detaching ourselves to help us feel safe. It's a protective mechanism.
Her husband says, Seven Serpents, would like to hear Julie's opinion of dreaming in first or third person. So it's the same?
It's still you. It's still you. So when we're doing it in the third person, which means we're doing it from somebody else's perspective, we're trying to detach ourselves, separate ourselves from the issue, to give us a little bit of breathing space, to help us feel a little bit stronger about it. So for example, I used to have a lot of dreams quite a long time ago, before I dealt with my abuse stuff, but it was somebody else being abused. I was watching a child being abused, and it wasn't me. And I was like, why do I keep having this dream about this 5-year-old child being abused? And I was older, trying to rescue the child and take her away from the abuse. And I had the same dream over and over, and until I sort of sat with it, and I said, maybe the child is me, and maybe the older version of me is my soul trying to rescue the child from the from the abuse, and maybe I need to go into this abuse properly and open it all up, open the can of worms up and deal with it, which is what I did. And then my life transformed from doing that. So that dream kept coming up because, well, actually, I'll just go a little bit further, because it's really important to show you this is the law of attraction in action. About 2 months before I started having these dreams, I was doing a workshop, and it was a workshop on ascension. And one of the things that we did in the workshop was we declared under universal law, and it was a very contractual piece of script that we had to read out loud to ourselves if we wanted to participate. And it was basically giving the universe permission to bring up anything that would stop us from finding that ascension, that enlightenment, okay? And the guy taking it, Mark Hartshorn, who's still working now in Devon, he's brilliant. He stopped the workshop at that point and said, before we do this, we're gonna have a coffee break, because I want you to go away and really think about this. Because when you say those words, you're giving your soul, source, higher self, and the universe permission to bring up stuff that's potentially very painful. If your marriage isn't serving you, your marriage will collapse within a year. If you're, you know, it can really have significant impact on your life. So be very sure you want to do this before you say these words. And half the class left in the break because they were like, I don't want to disrupt my life. This is too heavy for me. I'm out, man. You know, fair enough. I stayed and I said those words, and it was within a few weeks that those dreams started coming up. And so that was, I'd given myself permission to say, this has got to go. We've got to clear this stuff out. So away it did. Okay. So very often our dream
that no longer serves you.
Because I've been burying it for years because I was too scared to look at it. I knew it was there, but I didn't want to me, open a can of worms of something that happened a long time ago. And to actually go into the detail and remember every sick detail of being sexually abused and groomed at 7, 8 years old, I didn't see the purpose, but my soul did. And so the dreams started coming until I faced it and went into therapy and opened it up and dealt with it. And then, for me, I've never been happier since and more at peace. And I absolutely have no regrets, but it was a tough journey. But my dream helped.
I'm sorry, I keep doing that. So basically you're saying if it's a third person dream, that it's a form of you disassociating yourself with the fear or the issue that you're trying to fix in your mind.
Yes, it's sometimes we're not quite ready to say and admit, you know, because at the end of the day, our subconscious brings up what we're denying, and we're not doing it deliberately. We're just not aware of it. Yeah, so it brings it up and kind of goes, hello, wake up, look at this. Now, if that's going to be a bit of a shock and a bit of a what the then it'll do it a bit more gently. So it isn't you having the issue, it's somebody else. And so that you kind of are moving towards it in little baby steps, so that you're gradually opening yourself up to, yes, this is an issue I need to deal with. Took me about 6 weeks of those dreams before I eventually went, fine, what have I got to deal with?
That makes a lot of sense too, because, you know, it would be a lot easier if it's not you and not your problem and you're looking at it from the outside. You know, that's them, not me. So you start to analyze it that way, but really you're analyzing your own situation.
You are, but you're doing it from a safe place, a safe distance, if you like. You've created that distance, and that distance serves you. And that's great. That's the way it, you know, if it's going to overwhelm you, because we need to understand we're only in the space that we're in at the time, you know, and if we're feeling really vulnerable, then to be hit with something really huge, like, by the way, your marriage is knackered and you need to leave, you know, when you've been quite happily in denial for ages, it's big, it's scary. So if we dream that it's not me, it's my best friend's husband that's having the affair, or it's my daughter's boyfriend that's hitting her, or do you know what I mean? If it's somebody else's problem, then I'm starting to gently open my eyes to it, but at my pace, while I'm gradually coming round to the idea that I do have a problem. Okay.
Wow, that's very interesting.
All right, let's have a look at some comments, see what we've got. I've got loads I haven't read any. Hang on.
Yes.
Comment break.
I have a few questions, but I want to let you check out your chat because
I want to get into the floating soon, the floating and the flying and the falling.
Okay, you talk about that while I catch up. Oh, I like this actually. Eden's come up with something that I think is really good. Fear is an emotion that cannot kill you, but not dealing with it could get you killed.
Yeah,
I agree. This is where suicide comes in and severe self-destructive behavior, because we're not dealing with those emotions underneath. I completely agree. Jolie, hello Jolie. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to my channel. Jolie saying, I dreamt I was a black man once who was breaking out of jail. I'm a white woman, was weird. Okay, so that dream would represent being black is more, you're more vulnerable than being white. You know, you are. You're more likely to get arrested. You're more likely to get in jail. You're more likely to do worse at school. So basically, your dream is interpreting your vulnerabilities as shifting that onto being black. You're trying to break out of jail, which is showing that you feel restricted. You feel restricted and held back. And the fact that you're a black male is showing that you feel incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah, that's society. That society has told you that that's the most oppressed person you could possibly be. So if you're viewing that as yourself, you're feeling what they've told you, that you're oppressed. I mean, in your own life, though.
Yeah, oppressed and suppressed, and I mean,
like she said, she's escaping.
Yeah, she's trying to escape and she's trying to break out of jail. She's trying to find her freedom and she's trying to find her power, but she's feeling oppressed and suppressed. It's you see the way we can start to interpret our dream when we start to drill down into them. So let's see what else we've got. Heathen Breathing Fire, movies. Once it had passed, everyone was gone except me and the black worker, or had become zombies. They were shambling towards us, so we took cover in a local farmhouse. I woke up to a bashing. Okay, so we've got an attack dream there, all right, which shows you feel vulnerable.
Zombies. About black people.
Pardon?
Why is everybody dreaming about black people?
Well, again, I think the way that you put it is that we know that the blacks are the most oppressed cultural group within the US and the UK as well. So this is showing your vulnerability. And zombies, this is again, these are equivalent to your spiders and your snakes. Your zombies are going to get you. They're going to get you. You know, this is about you feeling attacked and at risk. You took cover in a local farmhouse and you woke up to being beaten up. So yeah, you're feeling at risk. You know, they're out to get me. So it can be paranoia, but it can be that you're inside, your unconscious and subconscious is saying to you, you really feel very, very vulnerable. What can you do to shore yourself up, to strengthen up your own sense of who you are, that I am strong, I am safe, I am protected, because clearly inside you don't feel those things. And so
and there's another little key thing, that this is just my opinion, but the fact that that person is seeing zombies around them is something that's telling their self that they have the ability and the smarts to get out of that situation, because everyone around them is zombies except for them.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Somebody asked, well, not somebody, Milky Way Weekly asked, could dreams be connected to past lives?
Yes. Yeah.
I think so.
And how can you tell the difference between a past life and a situation? Because when you were reading that, the comment on your chat, to me, kind of thought maybe that person was in a past life as a different person.
It's possible, because when the subconscious can access everything within this lifetime, and it can link in with the higher self and access everything from previous lifetimes. And so if we're not, the first port of call is always this lifetime. Always. You start with the now and you work backwards. So you take a dream and you look at, what is it trying to show me right now, and does it make sense? So if I'm having dreams like your leech's dream, right, and at the time you were feeling that somebody or something was sucking the life out of you, it made sense. You stop there. You go, right, there's the issue, I need to fix it. Okay, but if you look at it and you cannot find that this makes any sense, all right, then we go back a bit further. So we'll go, right, okay, and if it's a recurring dream and it happens over and over and over, then it can be an issue from a past life that is unresolved. in which case we need to do some past life regression work, which I also do. And I know it doesn't say anything about that on my website, but I've also got a diploma in past life regression, and sometimes there's unresolved stuff there we need to fix. But the other thing that can happen is that your subconscious will, because it's happened in a past life, it's got emotional attachment to it. And it's the emotional bit that wakes us up out of our sleep state when we're in denial, we're not noticing. Yeah. So if it's showing you something and it's not having any emotional reaction, you know, you have the dream, but you wake up, you can't even remember it. You carry on in your little blind world, carrying on. Eventually your subconscious will go, okay, let's bring the similar thing from a past life with a bit of an emotional kick to it, because that'll wake her up, and she'll remember that one and she'll act on it. So again, our subconscious can be used in past life to serve you now, to help you now.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in past life stuff, so I might need to book something with you, Julie.
But just remember, though, that this is your past life from a future life.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And also, and this is kind of, a lot of people don't know you can do this, you can do future life progression. Okay, so instead of doing past life regression, we can do a future life progression, and you can look at where you're going to go to in the future life, because there's only one now on a circular loop, and you can kind of go into what is in front and what is behind, but it's all really in the now. So it's almost like parallel dimensions of time. So that's 200 years, but actually it's a parallel dimension. It's happening right now in a different dimension and a different time. And so we can get into those too. And that's exciting. I've done some future life stuff, and it's like, whoa, it's amazing.
Wow.
Let's have a look at some more comments. You look at yours as well, Anna.
I've been dreaming about the same woman since I was a kid. She comes to me being different ages, different eras of time. Last one, I was in a ballroom, and everyone I'm serving her except this last one. Okay, I have to reread that. I've been dreaming about the same woman since I was a kid. She comes to me being different ages and different eras of time. Last one was in a ballroom, and everyone I'm saving her except this last one.
Okay, so in all the dreams, he's saving her from a situation. This one, he couldn't save her. It's very possible this is a past life issue, because he's been having it since childhood. But it's also possible that this is very related to this life. And it's that, you know, he feels responsible, right? When we have dreams about somebody else in trouble and we've got to save them, it's showing us that we feel responsible for another person, and that we are feeling overwhelmed with that responsibility and frightened by what happens if I can't save them, what happens if I can't hold them in the space they need. And we feel scared about that. It can often happen with children who have parents who are children. Let me explain that. Okay. Parents are supposed to be the grown-ups. They're supposed to take care of you and protect you. But many children are born into families where the parent is the one that needs taking care of, and the kid ends up taking care of the parent, either because they're emotionally dysfunctional or because they're physically ill and disabled and the child is the caretaker, or because they're narcissists and the world revolves around them. All sorts of reasons why the child can end up being the caretaker. And a child, see, their soul source energy within them, and their subconscious will be saying, this is too much. I'm 7. What am I doing? I can remember when I was 7, I used to go to the cabinet and get my mother's pills, red ones, yellow ones, blue ones, half of one of this, half of one of that, and one of that, put it on a tray and take it to her. And I was like a medication nurse. I was 7. It's too much responsibility, too much responsibility. So the child will start having dreams where they're supposed to be rescuing somebody and they're failing, or they just managed to rescue them in time and then they wake up. And it's all to show that we feel overwhelmed with this burden of responsibility for others that is an unreasonable burden. So I would ask that person who asked that question to look at their life from the time of childhood and say, was there somebody around them that they constantly felt they had to take care of? Because many of my clients say the same thing. They had to take care of their parent, one of the parents, sometimes both parents. So, you know, that's the sort of thing that would apply to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to disagree, by the way. Any of you guys watching, or now you can say, no, I don't agree with that at all. I think it's that, you know, because I'm not.
Or shit.
Surprisingly enough. Okay. Okay, so Peg B is saying, I've had a recurring dream of being on a plane that crashed. I've always had an extreme fear of heights. So there we go. Okay, so you take a fear that you've got, heights, and that will go into your dream as a representative of any time you feel vulnerable or afraid. So if you were scared of spiders, it wouldn't be planes in your dream, it would be spiders. Your subconscious is using the planes because that's the particular thing you're frightened of. You're frightened of heights. The plane crashing is, you know, planes are transport. So your life coming to a sudden abrupt end, things just falling apart. It's not going to go the way you want it to go. So the fear of loss, your fear, especially those dreams can happen, surprisingly enough, when we're at our happiest. All right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the fear of losing that happiness.
Yes.
You feel like you're going to fall to the ground and crash.
Yeah. When we're in stressful, challenging, difficult situations, this is the time we rise to the challenge and we just focus on getting through it and just coping and doing what we've got to do to survive. And then eventually that turns around, and for many people, that we end up with a beautiful life, a lovely relationship, a great job, things that really come together at last. And that's when the dreams will come, because your inner self is saying, I finally got my utopia. I've got everything I want, and I'm absolutely bricking it that I'm going to lose it all. You know, so this is showing you your fear of loss, fear of lack, fear of losing what you've gained, and so you need to do some work then to shore that up, to say, no, I'm not going to lose it. I deserve this. It's my turn. It's my time. It's all going to be fine. And as you reassure yourself, the dreams will subside.
Oh, go ahead.
Free Wolf, he's the one who asked about the dream. He said, yes, I agree, 110%. That was spot on, totally amazing.
Good, I'm glad to be of help. I'm glad to be of help. All right.
So I wanted to ask you about this, because you were talking about that at the beginning does that cover just about all falling symbology, about falling? Because you mentioned that as one of the most common dreams people have, and it's ironic that I used to have a reoccurring dream about falling, but one of the times I made it all the way to the end of the dream, towards the ground, you know, because I'd always wake up, but I made it all the way, but instead of hitting the ground, I hovered. So, and since then, I would have the opposite dream. Like for a little while I had, well, not since then, I had the opposite dream where instead of falling now, I could fly, but I couldn't control it. So I always had to grab like the side of a house or a tree so that I wouldn't just keep going. And then eventually it got to where I can control it. And now I have dreams like these days where I pretty much just sit Indian style and float around and go where I want to go.
Wow. You got there before I had the chance to say. You found your own answer. Dreams of falling are always about, I feel out of control. Okay, so I'm falling, I can't stop it. I have no control, and it's basically saying I feel I've got no control in my life at the moment. It doesn't have to be all areas of your life. It could be your job or your relationship or your finances. You feel out of control, and so you'll have dreams of falling. When you get to the point where you learn to control it, then the falling was happening, but you were controlling the fall, and it's like, right, okay, I'm back in control. Your dreams are showing you.
It was kind of a lot like that, because when I started floating, it was like I got to the point where I was testing out how far I could fly, kind of. But before I got too high, I would always freak out and try to grab something, like I didn't want to go too far, or it was like the reverse of falling. I felt like testing out the control, and then I would lose it again, and I was still afraid of not having control, I guess. But the opposite way, floating away instead of falling.
But it's perfect because isn't that life? You know, we learn a little bit and then we learn a bit more and then we get it a bit wrong and then we'll have another practice. This is life, and this is our dreams showing us life. You know, that we're learning as we're going. We're not in control. Look at a toddler. You know, they're not in control of their walking. They're falling all over the place. They're walking like a drunk man, and then they get control of their legs and their body, and then they move on to the next bit and they haven't got control, and they learn it and they get control. This is part of our evolution, our development, that we will go through every transition, every change, we feel out of control, and that freaks us out, and then we learn it, we get hold of it, and then we're back in control, and then it'll shift again. And so what happens is we end up with this situation where we only feel safe when we're in control. So when we're out of control, we don't feel safe, and our dreams will show that to us. But if we stand back from that, we realize that every part of our life, our development has been get control, lose control, get control, lose control. That we've been out of control as much as we've been in control. So why fear the out of control? Yeah, what was it when we were learning to drive? We weren't in control of that car. You know, that's why the guy was sat next to us with controller pedals, because we couldn't do it. But after a while, we learned to do it until we got control of the car. It's just like life, you know, and that happens all the time. You know, we start a new relationship, we're not in control. Our heart's in control. We don't know if they're behind us or ahead of us. You know, are we, you know, we're not in control. It feels
out of control. That's what love's kind of out of control, because you're definitely not controlling it.
Yeah. I think I remember.
I think I remember. That's a good one. Yeah, so that is cool though, that now in my dreams, that is how I have lucid dreams, is pretty much I'm sitting Indian style and I float around looking at, I have a degree of like deciding where I go in the dream. So there's now since I quit concentrating on my dreams so much, I have more of the passive dreams where I'm just looking at stuff. And now that's where it's got really interesting in the later part of my life, because I've had things happen. So I do know that my dad used to argue this with me, that even if you did have what you thought was a psychic dream, and it did turn out to be true, and it did happen the way you said it was going to happen, that, you know, he would write it off to, you know, well, you have millions of dreams at night. The odds on one of them being true is pretty good, actually, because you're formulating things from your own life in it. But if you dream about a place you have never been, and then you go there, and see it, you know that you did not put this together with your own subconscious.
Yeah, this is a good place to move on to psychic dreams, because I think we all now understand what subconscious dreaming is and what it's trying to show you, yeah? And that it can be linked with past life as well, so we've kind of understood that too. So then the next element of dreaming is psychic dreaming. So, excuse me, this is about exactly what Ransom just said. I dreamt this exact situation. I dreamt myself sitting in this chair, having this conversation with you. I can't remember when, but I can remember that I know exactly where I am, and I've dreamt this. Yeah, we all had that. Have you all had that, guys? Let me know.
But is that like deja vu?
No.
No. Deja vu is not in a dream state. Deja vu is I have been here before. I know this place. I didn't dream it. I know it. Okay?
Oh, okay.
I did have deja vu when the dream came true, but it was different because I had already talked about the dream and when I was awake with other people. So I knew that it wasn't just me thinking, oh, well, I vaguely think that I remember this. I knew it, like details. I knew what I was going to find around the corner, everything.
I've had that too. And it can happen, we can have that deja vu actually from astro traveling, which is another subject. So that's when we are leaving our body and we're going off exploring onto a different kind of parallel universe and then coming back. I've had deja vu. I remember I was about 14 or 15 and my dad took us to a town we'd never been to, and I directed him to the car park and which exit to come out of the car park. So if we go that way, there's a bridge going over into the back of Woolies, Woolworths as was, it's not existing anymore. And he's like, well, when have you been here? And it was all there. He said, when have you been here? And I said, well, you must have brought me here. I'm 14. You know, it was 100 miles away. I wouldn't have been there for anything else. And he said, well, I've never been here. I didn't bring you. And we then spent the next hour trying to rack our brains of who took me there, because I knew this town. And we came to conclusion that nobody had taken me there, that it was a case of deja vu. So that's a typical example of deja vu. I didn't dream it. I knew the town. I knew what was around the corner. I knew what was on the buildings. I looked at the timeline because this would have been around probably mid-70s, something like that. And these buildings were been there since the 60s, but I was born in 63, so it's highly unlikely it was a past life because I was already here. Yeah, you can't be having a past life at the same time as you're having a life now, kind of thing. So it was just, I think it was astro traveling or something. I think that my soul went off exploring this place before I did, so that I had some.
That's exactly the feeling I had, that I was there, not physically, but I have been here looking at this.
Yes, yeah. And for me, that in particular example, that's the only time I've really had that clear. I was being sent off to boarding school and I was 14 and I was very, very nervous, very, very nervous. So that trip was to take me to the Shrewsbury, which was the town where the boarding school was. And I knew this town backwards. I had never been there. So I'm convinced that my soul, in a way to reassure me, took me to visit in my sleep time, not as a dream, but as an astro travel. Okay, so I came out of my body, went and explored this place and came back again. That's my only explanation. But anyway, right, let's talk about psychic dreaming when we have messages. All right, so the messages can be really, really clear, just as if you are awake, you know, and these are not interpretive dreams. So when our subconscious is talking to us, it's using symbols, like a bus means your life. You know, zombies mean somebody's after you. It's not real. It's what does it symbolize? But when we're doing psychic dreaming, it can be absolutely spot on, word for word, absolutely real, as if you're there having that conversation with somebody and then it happens. And it is a message, and very often it's a warning to be careful of something, but not in a scary way. They're just kind of saying, watch out for this, be careful. So it's your soul working with the universe, and angels can be giving you some warnings about things, but it can also be to help you to deal with a future situation so that you're prepped for it. And it can, you know, there's all sorts of reasons they give you, you know, messages in your sleep. You know, you can have a message about winning the lottery, and that's showing that, you know, you really want some money. You know? But you can also have a dream where you really feel that was a message. I need to buy a lottery ticket. You know, I'm being told to buy a lottery ticket. It feels absolutely right. So it's feeling it. Is it a message or is it a dream? You know, and it's kind of, yeah, give us some of your questions about psychic dreams. Let's see how we can interpret that.
I need to do something real quick. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. But you
That's
guys carry on.
Okay, hon.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because, you know, basically my channel is that. I know I've had lots of dreams. I'm a dream person, but I only take certain ones serious because I feel that this one's different. Yes. I mean, I'm awake in it, and I'm getting, and I started having a progression of dreams, actually, where at first it was just, you know, like a foggy idea, and then I would hear music and see pictures and stuff like that, but I always felt like there was somebody directly behind me showing me this stuff. Right. And then the dreams progressed. They've never talked or said anything like to me, but later I could actually see a figure there also and felt like, oh, okay, so there is someone here showing me that. And I made a bunch of dreams and I don't know what they mean. I didn't try to interpret them. I just tried to copy what I saw. And like you said, it was mostly symbology, places, specific people and ideas, and all mixed up together that don't seem relevant right away. But since I learned how to mix music, it's kind of easy for me to take two different ideas and mix them together. So like you're hearing a song that wasn't intended for the images I'm showing, but the words still line up. Yeah. And I have a bunch of those. I'm actually going to go and list them, which ones are dreams. I only listed one of them. I've been counting them and writing them down. I've had 43 so far. Wow. And I even had a dream that told me I'd only have, you know, so many more of these.
Okay, now these are messages.
I haven't had one since the last one, but I had one with Shiva where I went down an endless fractal, I think is what you call it. And I remember that on every plane of the fractal, there was another everything was there. But then, you know, when you went smaller, there it was again. And on each level, there was, you know, just, and it's weird that I got a message and then I found a video of a holy man in India. And he's one of the kind that's ironically similar to me. He smokes weed all day and sits outside, and he worships Shiva. They're considered holy men. They sit around and zone out, whatever you want to call it. But he was talking about the ideas that I was hearing kind of in the background in there about Shiva, because I'm not a Hindu, I'm not into that. But the message was basically about being the beginning and the end, and that it's an endless cycle, and that even Shiva himself is a beggar at the beginning, and the whole thing. And he said, so I just put him in there with what I was looking at with the fractal and stuff. It's pretty weird, though. So I don't know what the message was per se.
Generally, you know, the psychic messages, they are more about information and learning rather than, you know, a dream is, you know, I'm being chased or I'm falling or whatever. A psychic dream is, you know, you feel like you're being taken somewhere to show you something, to learn something, to develop, grow, and then back again. And those are the sorts of dreams I have a lot. Jolie's just asked a really good question. What about shared dreams where two people dream the same dream? Now that can happen, and it can happen usually with people who are really, really close. So a couple who are deeply in love and very, very connected. It can happen between a mother and a child, a father and a child, where they're very, very close, where you can have the same dream on the same night in different towns and cities. You know,
at the same exact time.
Yeah.
I have one experience of that. So that.
Have you? Okay, tell us about the experience of that.
Well, I happened to be in England when this happened, and I had an episode of sleep paralysis. And before I woke up, I had like a dream of. This is pretty weird, but I had a dream of, like, you remember when AOL and all of that first came on, and you started seeing the first little emojis that were, you know, of like an alien head. Anyway, I was seeing this alien head emoji in my head, and I slowly opened my eyes, and I didn't see anything on the roof across the street, but the window was open. So our window was level with their roof, and I felt like there were people over there having the same experience as I was having in that building. And then my child started screaming. But to back up a little bit before the emoji, I was having a very vivid dream about being in a doctor's office, and my son was next to me in a chair, and they hooked a wire up into his stomach and told me, don't worry, that's just, it's a RF something. And, you know, I didn't like it in the dream, and that's kind of what woke me up into the sleep paralysis. But then he started screaming while I was still kind of stuck with my eyes open, and I broke free from it and fell into the wall. And ironically, my wife at the time was a very, very light sleeper. But through this whole thing, she sleeps right through it. So he's screaming, and I hit the wall, so it's like real loud, and I get in there, and he's dreaming that there's vampires in a room putting a wire in his stomach in the same place that I did. So he was having a nightmare when I was having a nightmare, even though he interpreted it different.
Yeah,
it was the exact same thing happening, and that was a really freaky experience.
It's a really, really simple explanation. When we think about it, we know that we're magnetic resonant beings. We know that our auric field is bigger than our body. Generally, our auric field is around 3 or 4 feet. When we are meditating, we can expand it out to 10, 20 feet, okay? And when we're sleeping and we're being given information, we can expand our energy to fill the house. So the person in the next room can be feeling your energy and be, you know, this is like telekinesis, and it's like telepathy. It's just feeling and reading the other person's experiences.
So you think it's possible that either I just picked up on my child's nightmare or my child picked up on my nightmare?
Either. It could have been either. One of you picked up on the other, and because you're in the room next door, but it doesn't have to be about distance and space. You know, we know that, you know, when you're very close to somebody, and we know this with parents particularly, their child is in an accident, hundreds of miles away, and they know it, feel it. Yeah, there's something that shifted in their own vibration, their own connection. And so we know that we can read other people's energy and feel other people's energy when it's an extreme thing like an accident. But actually all that means is the accident has torn through the veil to open up that space-time dimension. But I believe that when we sleep very deeply, that veil collapses anyway, which is how we can astro travel and stuff like this. So it's absolutely logical that we would be able to pick up on each other's dreams, people that we love and care about. I mean, I certainly, you know, I've spoken to my children and said, oh, I had this weird dream last night when so-and-so, and they'll go, I dreamt that too, you know, and they're not bullshitting me, you know, they don't, they would, why would they, you know, but it does happen. So we can have experiences of each other's dreams, and very often when we've got soul connections, all right, and when we're talking about soulmates, people tend to think about the word soulmate as this is my lover, my husband, my wife, my twin flame. No, there are 12 generally soulmates in a group, and they are friends, they are enemies too, because we can learn from our enemies as much as we can learn from friends. They can be our children, we can have had past lives with them before, and so a soulmate is just a very deep connection. It's got nothing to do with romance at all. We can often misinterpret it because we feel such love for this person usually, and such deep trust. And if they happen to be similar age and opposite sex, we can find ourselves falling in love with them. But they can equally be our kid, our child, our, you know, so when we have that connection on a soul group, we'll often experience similar dreams, similar experiences, and we're sharing them through our energy field and cross-pollinating each other's experiences, if you like. Does that make sense?
Well, that's very interesting, Julie. Very interesting.
Good, good. Let's have a look at some. Yeah, my husband came to me, said he had to go to Denmark. 3 days later, terrorist attack in Denmark. Now that's a psychic dream, okay? You were being given a message. You were picking up on the fear. You were picking up on, even though it hadn't happened yet, the universe knows something bad's going to happen and is already feeling the vibration through space-time dimension. And you were picking up on that, and you were just picking up this, I need to go to Denmark. I actually needed to stay away from Denmark. But you know what I mean? It's kind of, that's the psychic dream.
Yeah, I'm going to see my chat and see what they're saying.
For those of you who haven't seen me live before, or anybody else, by the way, when I'm looking over here, this is where my chat is, on the side of the screen, and I'm able to read the comments. So that's why I'm looking down and over here.
So, I don't know. Let me think about my question. How can I refer that question?
I've been thinking a lot about what you guys were talking about, the past lives, because I've had a lot of weird dreams that were like out of time, you know, like maybe I was somewhere in Europe or something. And but what's weird about it is I felt like some of the other people that had different faces and looked different were people I knew now.
Yeah, this is
past. I just knew for a fact that that's so and so, even though they look nothing like them and they're talking nothing like them. I knew that the soul in there was them.
Yeah. And past life can really mess up your head, okay? And this is where, particularly on a soul group, because on a soul group, we can often have repeated lifetimes with the same people, but then obviously not in the same relationship. So yeah. I've got 3 children, and I've treated them all the same, but my middle child, which is my youngest son, from the time he was about 4, he was like a little old man, like an old soul on, you know, little old man sitting on a 4-year-old's body. And he was started at 4 to try and control me and boss me about and tell me what to do and advise me, tell me I'm wrong, and really being quite arrogant and difficult to, you know, I'd say to the other kids, if they were naughty, if I said jump, they'd say how high. If I said jump to him, he'd go, why? You know, it was just a completely different character. And go forward 10 years, when he was 15, he would do exactly what he wanted to do. I had very little control, and it never made any sense to me. I used to constantly question where there's not so much where I'm going wrong. So he was never in trouble and he wasn't a bad lad, but he just was in charge, if you like, no matter how hard I fought it. Anyway, we did a meditation one night. I was running a circle at the time, and a spiritualist circle and development circle, and he asked if he could sit in and see what all this was about. So I said, yeah, sure. And we went into this meditation, and we immediately went to a past life. It was so clear. It was a Native American Indian village, and
I love that.
I was there, and I've had many lifetimes in that. And at the time, I was very shamanic, and obviously that's why I felt very drawn to all the shamanic Native American Indian stuff, the rattles, the drums. It filled my house. It wasn't angels then; it was everything that was Native American Indian. Anyway, in the room, I was the 16-year-old girl, female in a male-dominated society, and he was my big brother and the chief's son, and he was really strong and muscly and big, and I was the little sister that he had to protect and looked after and do as I was told to him and my father. And when we came out of this meditation, I just looked at him and I went, well, it all makes sense now. You know, you're my son, but in this previous life, you were my big brother, and you had complete control over me.
Oh,
and
wow. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know, weird, that makes so much sense that you would end up taking care of someone that used to take care of you.
Yeah.
Almost in the way that, you know, like you have, now I always joke about this, but, you know, like you're a baby, people clean your butt, your parents are cleaning your butt. Later they become elderly, you clean their butt. It's like a full circle. And you know how, like, I have this weird picture of, like, men especially, where they're like a little boy, and then they become a man, and then later when they get old, they turn back into a little boy again, you know, like eating ice cream, sitting around happy, you know, not doing much.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do.
And joking around too, like, you know, old farts like to joke around like kids do.
Yeah, they do. And one of the things I use it with my clients, I often will get them in, when we're under hypnosis, to imagine themselves, to invoke their little me. I call them mini me, right?
Yeah.
I want you to imagine you at 3 years old, because this is when we're 2 or 3, this is who we truly are before we start getting warped by the world and other people's influences and conditioning.
Before we get jaded.
Yeah, and it's just the same at the other end of the scale, because as we get old and frail, we revert back to our 5-6-year-old self. We revert back to our 2 or 3-year-old self. And yeah, you're absolutely right. True Speaker Cruz is asking, well, not asking, telling me, telling us wanting to share this story. My dream that I in the universe, and there is a man with a glowing white aura, and is talking to me, yet I can't hear him, and I'm trying to read his lips, and then I wake up.
Wow.
Now, you see that is a psychic dream. That's the sort of dream I've had since I was about 7. That I know that this is a being of light. I don't have to give it a name. It could be Jesus, it could be God, it could be Krishna, it could be Muhammad, it could be any of the beings of light that were here to show us where to go and how to be. It could be any of them, but it's there to help us, to support us. And we're closed in our mind that we think that understanding has to come through words, because that's how we communicate, through sound. But actually, the higher beings of light, they communicate through thought. And I've certainly had dreams where I've had information downloaded, almost like an electronic download into my brain. I can't access yet. I know it's there. I don't know what's in it because I'm not ready to open it yet. And I get this information that when you're ready, we'll give you the key to open the information. We're downloading stuff into you to raise your vibration, and the access to the information that's behind it will come when you're ready. There's no point giving it to you now because it's all binary and it isn't going to make any sense to you. But by then you'll be able to speak binary and it will make sense to you. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, when we have...
Sorry, Julia, I keep interrupting you.
No, it's all right. I talk too much. You interrupt.
No, I was going to say, when you were saying that, to me in my head, it played out like those are lessons that the universe send out. And when you pass that lesson, you open the new, whatever, you unlock the new challenge or whatever, like.
Yeah, so, absolutely. You know, maybe life is, you know, I think life is a bit like a computer game, you know, when you get to one level and then another bit opens up, you know, and it's kind of, it's a little bit like that, like the Matrix. You know,
Yeah.
so let's see what else we've got. So yeah, Truth Seeker Cruise, don't worry about the fact that you can't hear what this guy is saying to you. This is a being of light that your soul is meeting in your dream time, astro traveling, all sorts of stuff, and it's giving you information. It's giving you love. It's giving you power. It's giving you, you know, I go up there sometimes just to kind of go home and reset, rebalance. Do you know what I mean? Just get back in the groove of the light and the love and the peace, and then you can kind of bring that back with you into your earthly day.
She said she said she was in the, like, out in the universe.
Wow.
It's weird that she said that about the lips, because I had a reoccurring dream that I still have today, and it's similar to that, but it has my grandfather in it, and it's me sitting in front of a fire, and then there's him, and he's on the other side of the fire, and on either side of us are trees, like pine trees that are so tall that you can't see the tops of them. But for some reason, there's a space in between them, and there's the full moon, and it's shining down. But behind my grandfather, there are millions of people behind him. And all of them have the moonlight where I can't see their faces. I can just see the moonlight on their hair, you know, like behind him. But he's at the fire, so I can see his face. And he's talking. I can see every detail, like saliva on his lips, and the shadow of his hair, you know, with the fire crackling. But I don't know what he's saying. He's just talking, and I can't hear any of it. And it's on the other side. It's like if I was on that side of the fire, I could hear what he was saying, but I can't. But I know they're saying something. Yeah. And it's like millions of people are waiting behind him to talk to whoever they want to talk to at the fire.
Oh, wow.
Sounds bizarre, really cool. But she brought that dream right in my head when she said that about seeing someone talking but not really hearing what they're saying. Yeah. Wow. Like, it's a really frustrating feeling too in the dream.
They're talking to your soul, and it's like you as the human can butt out. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to your soul. Get out of the way. Your soul can hear me. It smacks a little bit of reminiscent of when we were kids, you know, when you go, what are you saying? Oh, it's grown-up talk. You go and play, grown-ups are talking. It's a little bit like that. Yeah. Oh, so Deborah Tucker is saying, Julia had a dream about a missing child that went missing 22 years ago, and I don't know what to do with the info.
Write it down.
So yeah, you write it down. It could be you know, a psychic dream, but equally, if you were dreaming it at the time when the child's gone missing, that plays into our own fears. That's an unconscious dream trying to come up to conscious awareness. What happens if my kids got, you know, kidnapped or disappeared? It's your fears. But if this dream came up recently and you didn't know what it was about, but it was really clear in your mind about a missing child, you have the name, you Google it, you find there was a child that went missing with that name, and you feel you've got information, write it down and give it to the police. And don't worry if they think you're potty and you're mental. The police do work with psychics, and they won't admit, but they do. So if you feel you have information that's useful, share it. You've got absolutely nothing to lose, and the police and the family have got everything to gain. Okay.
And if it's not a real kid, you could be just feeling like you lost your own childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mary Wentz says Ransom has cool dreams.
That's an understatement. I wish I could show them, really, like on a projector to people. That would be just bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think no one would talk to me anymore.
Julia Reed is asking a dream about teeth. So a subject close to my heart at the moment, guys. So, yeah, I'm still in pain. I'm still under the doctor as well. But I also dream all the time about my teeth falling out. Since 20 years, it's painful, horrific, and so real. Please tell us what this could mean. Okay, so
your relatives are turning against you.
Eh?
Your relatives are turning against you. That's a Freud thing I actually read about that. A fear of your relatives betraying you and turning against you is like associated with your teeth falling out.
Is it? Okay, that's a new one on me. Okay, so that's one option. So basically with any dream interpretation, by the way, we give you different alternative options. You feel which one resonates for you. It might be a mixture of several, you know, because these sorts of things, there is no really definitive right or wrong. It's different possibilities, a little bit like doing a reading with cards. There are different possibilities. You feel what resonates for you. So my understanding of teeth, of dreams around teeth, because I've been doing a bit of research on teeth myself this week. And just for any of you that don't know, I had a tooth out 10 days ago now, and it became infected, dry socket, and
oh God,
I've never known pain like it. I'd rather have a baby. I haven't been able to work.
Oh, wow.
And
no, I know
Julie.
exactly what you mean. I had that dry
Okay.
socket. Not cool.
It's come up down my jaw into my ear. That knocked my balance off. I couldn't even walk across the room without holding onto a wall on Thursday.
That's awful.
So anyway, yeah, I did some research on teeth, and basically any dreams around teeth is about, well, teeth is when you are biting into life. Okay, are you biting into life? And if your teeth are all falling out, if that's saying to you, you feel like you can't take the joy out of life, you can't bite into it, and you can't get the nourishment, right? When we bite into food, we're getting the nourishment, we're getting the fuel, and we're getting pleasure, right? If we're eating good stuff, nice stuff. So when in your dream with your teeth falling out, it's saying, I can't bite into life and get pleasure from it and hang on to it. Right? Because if you can't bite into it, what happens? You know, think about an animal with its prey. It'll bite into it to hang on to it. So we need our teeth to bite into life and hang on to it. So your teeth all falling out, all of them, and having no teeth means that you've lost that grip of life. And this is why it keeps going on for 20 years.
Lost your pleasure.
Yeah, but it's more than pleasure. It's, you know, if you think about a wild animal, if it didn't have any teeth to grip its prey, it would starve, it would die. You know, it's an essential part of life. You need to hang on to life, be able to bite into it and hang on to it in order to get your nourishment, or you starve. So it's basically saying that inside you feel malnourished. All right, is your life fulfilling? Is it enriched? Is it happy and whole? Or do you feel that you're just skating on the surface and not really being able to bite into it properly? So that's one option, okay? But another option is, and this is not about dreams actually, but I think it might be relevant, so I'm going to throw it in the pot. When I've got anything wrong with me physically, I always look at what's going on underneath emotionally, okay? Because I'm with Louise Hay on, you know, agreeing with her philosophy on life in terms of what any imbalance in the body will eventually manifest itself into the physical. So I Googled Louise Hay teeth problems and basically it was saying that your teeth is about indecisiveness. Okay, right, this is a new one on me. So I had to sit with it and say, have I been really indecisive? And it's a long period of time. It's not just I can't make a decision this week, you know, sort of, has there been something you've been battling with for months and not been able to make a decision? And the answer for me was yes. And I thought, oh, okay, is that why I've then having teeth problems? Okay, so I had to say to myself, right, I'll make a decision. So coming back to the dream part of it, maybe is to do with, are you a bit too indecisive, and that's why you're dreaming that you have no teeth? Okay.
Yeah. And a cigar, just a cigar for the tattletales.
I
have to put a disclaimer that, you know, like Freud said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. So for the specific tattletale out there that's tried to tattletale on me a couple times, disclaimer, it's just a cigar.
Okay. Oh, they'd be nasty to you, Ransom. You said.
Yeah, but you know, I let that stuff roll off of me, man. I don't even care. That's petty. So whatever.
We don't do petty, do we?
No. Julia, I have a question about dreams, because and I know we're in the psychic dreams now, but I meant to ask you this earlier. When I dream, I don't see people's faces, but I know exactly who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't need to see their faces if you know they are. Yeah, it's like your dream is giving you a certain amount of information. And if you need to relate the information specifically to the person and need to see their face for that, you'll see their face. But if you know their energy and their essence without their face, then you don't need to see their face. Okay. So your subconscious is like, why waste energy? I'm on a time-saving thing here.
That's cool. Okay, I see.
Can you give me 2 minutes, guys? I need to take some more painkillers and my antibiotics.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
For 2 hours. I'm quite happy to keep going. I'm loving it, but I just need a little 5-minute break. Okay. So,
Davey wants to know how come I don't make my dreams into videos. Now that hurt my feelings, Davey, because I've talked about it several times. Most of my music videos are dreams that I made into a video. So I do animate my dreams, but I think he means more like a storybook animation. Like I'm thinking, this is my own psychic opinion, he's thinking about the story of my grandfather and the trees. So tell me, is that what you're talking about, Davey? Like me animating the trees and the fire and the people behind it and stuff like that? I've actually thought about that. I just don't know how to technologically do it yet.
Can you see the chat?
Yeah. So
the
only thing that's holding me back on making more vivid, and I've been holding a lot of dreams back actually, that I have a bunch of notes, I wrote them down, and I'm holding them back because I don't have a computer powerful enough to make everything from scratch. But if I could, I would do that.
So you need to get a new computer?
I'll have to wait till I get super chat and, you know, somebody hooks me up and I'm a famous YouTuber, and then I'll buy a new computer and you can see my dreams the way that I see them.
That's funny. Heidi.
BLK, smooth pipe tobacco.
Black Miles, right? Black Miles?
Yeah, well, she's talking about, yeah. Pipe tobacco. Yes, definitely pipe tobacco. Matter of fact, now that I'm done with that, I have some even stronger tobacco that I actually smoke in a pipe, but I'm going to turn off my camera for that. And it is just pipe tobacco.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. Pipe tobacco.
So I wonder, you know how some people, I wonder if I have to set up my account, my YouTube account, where it says 18 and over. Do you know how to do that?
No, I don't know how to do that, and I don't care if 17-year-olds see adult stuff. Their parents should be watching what they watch on YouTube, so it's not my responsibility to make sure that people under the age of 18 don't see things that they're not supposed to. That's the parents' job, not mine. I make sure my kid doesn't see things he's not supposed to see. Well, at least I try to do it. But, you know, kids are going to see what they want to see, whether you think so or not.
So how's everybody in the chat? Are you guys enjoying the show so far?
And hello, Heidi M., Mrs. Seven Serpents, expanding the process, the Great White Hunter, and who else? And we got Seven Serpents, of course.
Always 420.
I bet Seven Serpents has some trippy freaking dreams.
Yeah.
Because of, you know, like when he gets up in the car in the morning and he's like, it's like a professor in a car and he's telling you all about like ancient stuff from different cultures.
Yeah.
He literally has like a college feel to like a classroom. Like when he's just sitting in the car and he's showing you drawings and all that stuff. Oh, look, we're all off air now. What's going on?
Now you're listening to the smooth sounds of DJ Ransom the Freedomist. This is 1776 on your Freedom of Speech dial.
That's funny.
We're just all having tobacco moments. So, you know, sorry about that. Excuse me.
I'm back.
Oh, good. I'm glad everybody's having a good time and everybody's liking the show, Julie.
All right.
What's going on with my screen? It's gone extremely weird. Okay, well, never mind.
We all got the flu over here and we're coughing. That's what's happening.
Top chats. That's not mine.
No, that's my chat. I screen share. I'm sorry.
Yeah, make it go away.
Miss Seven Serpents says she can verify that Mr. Seven Serpents has some very cool dreams.
Oh, I bet.
Invite him on to talk about that one day.
Yeah.
You know, instead of interpreting, we should have another show where we just listen, like, you know, to people's dreams, like their full dream.
Yeah, that will be cool.
My problem is I always forget part of them. You know, that's why I get up, and my advice to anybody that really wants to dive into their dreams is immediately write down every detail you can write as soon as you wake up, because within minutes it's gone.
Or if you wake up in the middle of the night and you had a dream, write it, because don't wait to write it in the morning, because you're not going to have it
except for
in the
like
morning.
the ones that I feel like are psychic dreams, I can't forget them. I can play that entire dream back in my head right now. Those are different. That's what I mean. Like a regular dream, I forget it within minutes. When I get up, my brain doesn't feel like it's really that important to hold on to. Like it was just my mind relaxing or resting, and I had some weird stuff pop in your conscience or whatever. Your subconscious. But those ones that I feel like I'm getting a message, I don't forget them. I'll wake up and I'll have it all day long. As a matter of fact, the reason I started making the videos was to get it out of my head.
Yeah.
Like once I made the video, I can let it go.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but hey, it's out of my head.
Anna, were you asking about something about how do you do the over 18 thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need to do when you set up a live stream. Sorry, my voice is going funny now. When you set up a live stream, if you go into the advanced settings, you've got your ordinary one, and there's the advanced one. There's a box there you can tick saying suitable for over 18s only.
Okay, perfect.
Which I don't tick because I don't see anything wrong with. You've got to be 13 to have a YouTube account anyway, haven't you? And to watch a program on dreams,
Yeah.
So what? So, oh yeah, disclaimer: alcohol-free wine, and it is actually. I don't drink alcohol when I'm working. But I discovered, I don't think you have a co-op over there, but you will have the equivalent. The co-op do an alcohol-free Prosecco, and I like Prosecco. It's a sparkling white wine. It's like a cheap champagne. And they do an alcohol-free.
It looks like champagne.
Yeah, they do an alcohol-free one. And in the UK, we pay for our wine and alcohol by volume. So the stronger it is, the more expensive it is. So because there's no alcohol in it, it's £2 a bottle. Cheap as chips, yay.
If you believe like the ancients believed, you can get you a couple of these, and they will protect you from any negative forces in the dream world. At least that's what the ancients thought.
You can use crystals for that too. So let's talk for a moment about nightmares. Little kids go through a period quite normally where they have lots of nightmares. Night terrors, they call them, is actually a psychological name for it. And when my daughter went through the night terrors between sort of 5 and 6.5, I put crystals under her bed. I put rose quartz, which is loving, really loving energy, and I put amethyst, and I put big crystals under her bed like that. Yeah, that's a beautiful piece of amethyst. I put one under her bed, under her head, right? So she had a bed with a frame bed, where you can put stuff underneath. So I put the amethyst and the rose quartz under where a pillow would be, and then I put some smaller, smoother ones just directly under a pillow, and she slept really well for ages until the energy wore off, and then I had to recharge the crystals and do it again. But that really helped her dreams.
I have a question. Did you tell your...
I'm sorry. That's both of you now have talked about putting crystals
under your pillow
while you sleep or under your bed. So what is that, Anna? What is it exactly that's supposed to do? Is that supposed to give you energy or suck the bad energy out?
Well, every crystal has different purposes and different things. So if you want to astral travel, there's certain crystals that will
like you were saying at the beginning.
Yeah, basically it's the intention, isn't it? You could honestly use a leaf from the garden. It's the intention. So if you hold anything, I could hold this pen and I could say, this pen protects me. Yeah. And if I believe it strongly enough, and I say, if I put it under my pillow, it will stop me having negative thoughts.
That's weird, because I sleep with this and I believe it will protect me. I really do think it will. It's more than just a belief. I think that it may, in fact, help me if something was weird when I woke up.
Okay. Let's look at some of the comments.
Belief, though. If you have belief.
I was going to ask you a question, Julie. When your daughter was having nightmares and stuff, did you talk to her about putting the amethyst, or was she aware that? Okay.
I mean,
Oh,
I've been doing this really actively for 20 years, and she's 20, so she's had it all her life. So, you know, there's crystals and angels in the house. There was American, you know, Native American Indian stuff. She asked for a dream catcher over her bed, which I gave her. She asked for a rattle by the side of her bed. I used to, I use different stuff now. I use angelic energy and Reiki energy and white light from source, but back then, when she was about 4 or 5, and I was big into Native American everything, I had a drum and a rattle. So she'd have the rattle, I'd have the drum and the sage, and I'd go around the house, and I'd have Indian music playing in the background,
so cool.
banging the drum to clear the energy, and she'd be coming behind me with the rattles, and we'd make it like our little once a week thing, like, go, let's cleanse the house, you know, and we'd
so
go
cool.
and if she really believed that,
with the rattles and stuff.
that's really cool too. So just her participating in that and believing that, you know, that's the power right there.
Yes, yeah, that's the power.
I want to do that.
And
You
she's
inspire me, Julie.
Yeah, I get her involved in it, you know, and so when she was having the nightmares, she's like, Mummy, make them go away. And I said, yeah, right, let's bring in, and I was working with White Eagle at the time, I had 12 rainbow warriors, they were called, and they were Native American Indians on white horses with spears. And I used to see this regularly in my dream time and in my meditations, and they would come in when I was in any negative energy, because I was doing clearances at the time. So I do ghost busting. I go to people's houses and clear the energies and stuff and get rid of bad energy and bad spirits. And so that's actually quite risky work. I don't do it anymore. But you have to be really protected, because, you know, when you're messing with these negative energies, they can attach to you if you believe it and if you feel you're vulnerable. So it's really important that you feel invincible and invulnerable and totally in the power. And so what I used to use to help me with that was I just, you know, in my meditation asked for how can I feel absolutely 100% safe. And in troop these 12 warriors sitting on their white steeds with their spears, and there was one energy that I was dealing with that was quite nasty, they surrounded it in a circle and pointed their spears, but instead of them being spears that you'd throw and pierce, there was white light shot out of their spears into this being and transformed it and transmuted it into, it just neutralized it. And then the whole house was filled with light, and off they troped, and they sort of found.
You brought up some really weird stuff there, and I want to ask your opinion on it, Julie and Anna. You just said that, you know, that when people actually believe in these dark spirits and stuff, it you know, it allows them to have a little more power over them.
Yeah.
You know, so what do you think about, like, the Vatican just now announcing that they're going to go on a massive exorcism thing? And they believe that there's like 500,000 people in Italy alone that are in need of an exorcism to remove demons, or, you know, like we're calling it dark spirit, whatever. It's the same concept. And so that tells you that church believes in it or doesn't believe in it. It's irrelevant. The point is that they're making millions and millions of people think about it and believe in it. Now, this isn't like they're putting out the idea of, you know, love thy neighbor and, you know, Christ message. They're talking about, we need to go rid all these people of dark demons. There's so many dark demons out there. They're infesting our population. I mean, basically, that's what the Pope and the Vatican just announced,
Right.
that there's just tons of, if they're saying there's 500,000 in Italy alone, imagine the number that they're estimating for the entire world, or just, let's leave it in with just where the Catholic people are at around the world. And then those people that, you know, that message has trickled down through the Catholic Church to every little place in different languages, you know, Italian and Spanish and English and, you know, wherever a Catholic church is. So they're now all tripping on thinking about dark entities having access to them. So, but what my point was is before they announced that, people probably weren't even thinking about it.
No.
Yeah.
And they created their own reality. I mean, in my experience, and I have experienced it, of negative spirits, but it was at a time in my life when I was working through all of my abuse stuff, all right?
Yeah.
And I was extremely vulnerable. I felt very disempowered because I was going through a lot of emotional release work. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, I believe that what vibration are you resonating on? I was at the time resonating on powerlessness. And this is why I tried to avoid it for so long, because I actually felt quite a strong woman and strong individual. And I knew that going back into my abuse would reduce me to a wreck. And I was frightened. And that's a natural emotion. And that fear had kept me avoiding it for a long time. But in the end, I was like, right, come on, find the courage, bring it on, go and face your demons. And literally,
you had to deal with it. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened, because within a few weeks, it was within about, I was in that zone. I did my own clearing, energy clearing and stuff of the stuff and the trauma within me. But I also saw a counsellor for 9 months to work through how this has affected my behaviour. And during that time, this is when I was like invaded by negative spirits. And it's because I was in that vulnerability. And it was interesting for me that I knew people who did clearance work and I couldn't get hold of them. They were on holiday or they were away or their phone wasn't working, and eventually I had a choice of like let myself just be terrified constantly or take control of it myself, and so I did. And interesting, once I'd done that, all of that went away. Because
Wow.
I come into my power. I come into, and all right, I used White Eagle, I used these Rainbow Warriors, I used all sorts of other things to make me feel powerful. Well, not make me feel powerful, but help me step into my power. And then once I'd done that, all these demon spirits, bad spirits went away. So I just think that it's all about your own energy. It's about, this is the law of attraction in action. If your energy is low and vulnerable, so a lot of mental health people, people with mental health issues, I think a lot of them do have, could do with an exorcism, could do with a clearance, because they are so vulnerable that those energies can attach to them. But I think some people who suffer paranoia and some psychological issues, it can be to do with negative energies and entities that are part of that, but they wouldn't have come in the first place if the person wasn't suffering from the mental health problem in the first place. But I think the energies can make it worse. So I think if the church think this is going to help, and they're coming from the perspective and the intention of they want to help heal and
seriously helping, yes,
then it's to me it's about the intention. Are they trying to spread fear, or are they trying to say, look, there's a lot of negative stuff out there and we want to help you and we're going to neutralize it? And if you believe that and you believe that it can be neutralized, then crack on.
Well, I wasn't accusing the church of purposely making.
No, I know. I'm not defending them.
I was just mentioning, though, that they did put the idea out there for other people to think about it, whether the intention was good or not. You made me really think of some weird stuff. I think I talked to you about the shadow thing last time, and I woke up to it. And you were talking about, like, maybe that followed me last time, like maybe from the prison, the darkness or whatever. But I was thinking that the rehab, I wasn't like the other people there. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to say I was better than the other people there. I wasn't addicted to a substance. I went there as a way to stay out of prison. And, I did smoke marijuana, and even the people there almost kicked me out because they, like, what are you addicted to? I smoke weed, they're like, yeah, I think you're not at the right place. But I was thinking that, instead of, I may have misinterpreted the shadow thing altogether. It may have been interested in me because I was different from everyone else there. Like, if it was there feeding off of people that had addictions and fears and negativity around them,
wow, I see.
I'm there in a positive way. Like, my entire mentality at the time was positive. I just escaped life. I got a cheat code. I'm going to be out of here in a minute. And I went down a different path. And so I was thinking maybe that's even why I even had contact with it, is because I stuck out there as not being, like you couldn't feed off me. And I did wake up and chase it away, or at least that's what it appeared to be to me.
Yeah.
I still haven't decided whether that was just a leftover part of a dream and I woke up and freaked out on it or whatever. But, if it was some kind of dark entity, maybe that's exactly why it was intrigued by me, because I was the one that really, because everybody, I have to admit, I met everybody there. They all had serious life issues. And me, myself, the only issue I had is that I was being a fuck up and I got in trouble and I was trying to get out of it. So I was already in a positive mood. Like, you know, I
on a higher vibration, and everybody else was in a lower vibration.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder though, was there like one of those things in each room with each group of people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what
not just me.
What we're talking about here is negativity, which is fear. All right, there's only two emotions. There's love and there's fear. And although there are, you know, if you actually Google how many emotions there are, I think there are 374. But they either come from love or they come from fear.
Just a spectrum of those two.
Okay, and you can equally say that's good and evil, or that's light and dark, or whatever, right? But what we've got, in my experience, and I can only talk about my experience, when this entity came into my house, my daughter, who was 4, this was part of her night terrors, she was describing this monster with red horns and red eyes and a tail, and she literally was sweating all over. She was terrified, she was trembling, and she'd messed herself with fear. That's how terrified she was. And I could feel the energy, and it was pure terror from her. My son, who's 10 years older, so he was about 14 and a half, he said to me the next day, do you mind if I stay with my girlfriend? I don't like the energy in the house, it doesn't feel right, and I feel scared. And I'm like, okay, that's 2 of my children who are both psychic telling me that this house doesn't feel right. I was trying to get hold of Mark Hartshorn, who I know does clearance work, as in exorcisms. Couldn't get hold of him. And so it built, and it built, and it built, right? And I started seeing it then, and I was seeing it in my dreams, and it was growing, and it was growing every day. So what had started off with this dark blob, this dark shadow, was becoming more and more defined as a demon as every day went past, and it was getting bigger.
It's like you guys were feeding it and giving it reality.
It took me about a week to figure, because I'd never dealt with any of this stuff before, and I was like, what is going on? And then I realized that it was feeding off the fear, and it was growing from the fear. And then it made absolute sense to me. So when we say, you know, love grows, everything we do is threefold. Fear grows threefold. Also. Everything grows, okay? Right. So if you feed the same vibration, if you put hate into hate, you get double hate. All right. You put fear into fear, you get bigger fear. So what was happening was that my daughter was scared of it, my son was scared of it, and I was scared of it. We were all feeling disempowered, waiting for somebody else to come and rescue us from this. And every day it was growing, until I realized about day 5 or 6, I'll have to deal with this myself. So she was at her dad's for the weekend. I had the house to myself. I called in the Rainbow Warriors. I called in God and Jesus and the bloody world and his wife to keep me safe. And I went, right, I'm doing battle with this demon. And I sorted it. And I got rid of it. And it was cleared. And while this energy came in from the Rainbow Warriors and this wind came into the house, it was surreal. This sounds mental, I know.
I'm not laughing. You're talking about Native Americans with light staffs and rainbow, and over here that's that would be like the LGBT people coming out, you know, and yelling at you about stuff. The Rainbow Warriors.
Well, that's the name they gave me. That's all I can tell you.
I know, but yours is a cool version. The other one's kind of like, it's funny, because I'm thinking of, you know what I mean? You live over here, too.
I got this wind. I heard this howling wind coming. I was upstairs on my bed, sat in a meditative stance with crystals in my hand, surrounded by my Rainbow Warriors. White Eagle stood at the bottom of my bed. I got Jesus and an angel stood behind me. And I'm like, I'm sorting out this fucker, and he's not going to frighten my child anymore. I'm not having it.
You were empowered.
I was empowered. And then I felt this wind. I heard it, first of all. It's like, I thought like somebody'd opened the door and there was a storm raging outside. I heard this wind whistle through the house, up the stairs, into my room. And I didn't open my eyes. I was just sitting there in this sort of stance, you know. And I felt my hair blowing in the wind as this wind came through and whipped this thing out and out the window. and then this calm descended on the whole house, and I was like, whoa. And it's
clean. You remember that from the Poltergeist?
and it literally was like, so I've never seen a horror film because I don't like anything
Yeah, I
scary.
don't like that.
But you know, I heard from other people, and I'm like, either I've really lost the plot, or something. I just cleared something from this house, and then afterwards I realised what it was all about. It was getting bigger and bigger because it was feeding off the fear.
You were manifesting that fear.
I was manifesting it because I was in a vulnerable place and I felt afraid. I was facing my demons, and that's a word that we use, isn't it, about our fears of the past. Face your demons, and what has manifested in my house, a demon, you know. And it's like, right, we've manifested this stuff, guys. We need to take responsibility.
I think that is the literal key. Literally, like you said, you faced it.
Yeah.
And so that's, whether it's supernatural or just an issue in your life, that's the only way to deal with those.
It doesn't matter, you're right. It doesn't matter if it's psychological, if it's in your mind, or whether it's real. It's about, what does it represent? Me stepping into my power, me stepping away from the vulnerability and the fear, and me saying, we are not feeding the fear anymore. And so this is why I don't get involved with discussions that are fear-based and negative, because we're feeding them. We're feeding them and nurturing them, and they're getting bigger and they're growing. But we need to understand that the opposite is true. Love will also feed love, and the more we feed love, the more powerful that gets. We're feeding the collective consciousness with love, with healing, with empowerment, with free dominion. We're stepping into our freedom of who we truly are, which is divine beings of love and light, not demons, not fear. So we are moving towards that more and more, and that's what we want. And our dreams are part of that journey. They are there to help us in so many ways, whether they be from our subconscious bringing up information to help us, whether they be from psychic dreams about what's going to happen in the future to prepare us or warn us or help us, but they're all part of that journey. And it's incredible the way that our inner being, whether it's the subconscious inner being or soul inner being, is working with us on so many levels to help us be the best version of who we are.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Milky Way Weekly says, prophecy says that the rainbow people will return.
They did, just not the ones we were expecting. You know, I know about the Native American rainbow warriors, like there's a thing, but like today, like when you look on the news, you don't see Native American rainbow warriors. You see the politically correct crowd out there. That's
I don't know anything about, because don't forget, this was in 2000.
No, it's a joke. They stole the rainbow flag for their cause or whatever. So now they're the rainbow warriors. You know, I loved Hawaii because it had a rainbow flag, and then they started doing that, and I was like, man, poor Hawaii. I can't, you know.
When I was, these days it's so easy, you know, that you can just go to Google and you can just Google a dream. What does it mean? You know, just Google what toilet dream or falling dream or car dream, transport dream, and there will be the answer.
Yeah, they're good websites for that.
It's brilliant, you know. And it's like, I don't have all the answers, but like this week, you know, I sat and I looked at, right, I've got balance issues, right? That wouldn't have happened if my life wasn't out of balance. My inner being's been telling me for weeks I'm working too many hours and I need to slow down. And I've not been listening. And what happens with me, and I don't know how many of you guys it happens to, if I don't listen, it goes, well, I'm telling you nicely, so now I'm going to tell you harshly. Bang. You know. So I booked myself a holiday because my inner being is saying you're out of balance, and this is a way to force myself back into balance. And what does the teeth mean? I googled the teeth, you know, and I was noticing Dr. Berta Maria Hines there was saying that you can actually Google each particular tooth and what it means, not just teeth. Wow. Right, which I didn't know, okay, which is brilliant. So you can say, was it molar? Was it the third tooth along the back? Because that means something different from the first tooth. Wow, who knew? So, yeah, I mean, thank God. Wiki.
You think it was like a shake-up to be like, okay, you need to stop.
Yeah. So let's have a look at some of the comments. Let's have a look. You have a look at yours as well.
Yep. Oh, Davy leaving. Bye, Davy.
Eden's saying, try losing all your teeth by 45.
There's
Yeah, oh bless.
There's a bad old tale of having a bad wolf and a good wolf inside of us. Which one wins?
Yeah.
The one you feed. Yes, it's funny that you said that, Mrs. Seven Serpents, because I was looking at Pinterest and I actually looked at that specific one. So that's funny that you bring it up.
I was saying about Google because at the time when I was working with the Rainbow Warriors and White Eagle, I had no idea who they were. And it was only when I was in a bigger meditation group that I used to go to once a month. And I said, you know, I work with this Native American chief called White Eagle. And everybody sort of stopped and went, what, the White Eagle? And I went, well, I don't know, who's the White Eagle? And it's like, oh, it's the White Eagle Lodge, it's worldwide, it's massive. And I'm like, okay, probably not him then. Well, does he look like this? Well, yeah, he's got white feathers down to the floor and he's a big chief. And he's like, that's the White Eagle. Like, you must be really important. I'm like, no, don't go there. That's like, we don't want to get into the ego and the arrogance. All I know is this guy came to me and I've been working with him for 2 years. And he brought me these Rainbow Warriors, and that's what they're called.
That's awesome.
And I've never Googled because I worked with them until 2007. And then they went out and the angels came in. And they're still around now and again, but I don't, it's a different,
That's awesome.
I'm on a different vibration now.
I want to Google it.
When you're talking, I'm fascinated now. I want to Google the Rainbow Warriors, because I didn't do it back then. I don't
actually do that right now. And I was tripping because I was I was trying to look for the thing because I'm pretty sure it was Freud a long time ago, but like, it's kind of confusing though when you look about dreams because there's so many sources of interpretation. So like just looking up losing your teeth, I got like 3 different things. One says like, you know, crumbling teeth or falling out, that you're having powerlessness in your life and that you need to find out whatever it is and take care of it now. And then there's another one that says before the 20th century, it was viewed that if you had dreams about your teeth falling out, then you were fearing losing a family member. So I remembered it wrong. It was that, not the turning against you, but that they were falling away, I guess, your family. And I was just looking at Google, and it's like there's 10 different things you can go with, but one of them probably is close to what you have in your life.
It will resonate with you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you'll find the right one when you look at it, and your mind will say, "Yeah, I think that's what that does mean."
This is what I was saying. You know, don't necessarily listen to me and say, "Well, you know, Julie is right," because I'm
more than we do. So
what I feel is instinctively right for me. It may not resonate for you, and if it doesn't, that's absolutely fine. Only ever, whoever it is, it doesn't matter who they are, if they're giving you information and it doesn't feel right for you, throw it out with the water. Just go,
no, you're right, because I kind of want to ask that person now if they like spiders and snakes, because maybe that meant instead of being overwhelmed, that was just, you know, a bunch of blessings coming toward them. If they like, I mean, I don't particularly like that, so it probably wouldn't mean that for me, but.
Right, it's different for everybody because we all have we're all different.
But yeah, most of the stuff you've said about, you know, like what dreams mean makes a lot of sense to me, like just in common sense that's where your mind would be going with those thoughts.
Yeah, we tend to look too much on the surface, and it's just delve underneath it a little bit and say, what would it represent? You know, so anything with wheels, anything moving forward is about journey. How does that mean? And just drill into it a little bit more. And if you get stuck, Google it or Wiki. So let's get more of this conversation.
Seven Serpents said, and I know I'm going to butcher that name, Z1Z. Butterfly is a great poem about dreams.
Okay, all right. Thank you for sharing that. What else have we got?
Like that movie, What Dreams May Come, man. That was a twisted movie, wasn't it? He just kept going deeper into his subconscious until it was like.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come. It's a very trippy movie about being lost.
I remember that.
I think he's dying is actually what it is, but it's like he's going through all the dream levels and stuff.
Yeah. So what are you looking at? Because what you focus on grows. Yeah, absolutely. They're all chatting to each other as they always do as well. They're all answering each other's questions as well and chipping in. I love the way you all talk to each other. It's great.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Let's see if we could find the Rainbow Warriors real quick.
Oh, Hellhawk7 saying, my biological grandfather was American Indian and everybody from the four corners of the earth went to him for advice and help. He did everything from real estate transactions to teach and all sorts of other stuff. So that's great. Well done. And they're talking about herbs for helping teeth. They're helping about turmeric and stuff. I know turmeric's a very good anti-inflammatory. And yeah, they're saying thanks for bringing up the Native American Indian stuff. Yeah, for me it was the energy difference. Having worked with the Native American energy for literally my first guide that I could see clearly. I was 17 and it was a Native American guide. Wow. And I worked with him until I probably would have been about 43. So yeah, I mean, a long time. That was the energy, and it's very earthy. It's very stable. It's very heavy energy, but it feels very protective and very strong and solid, and it really helps you get into your power. And obviously, I've got to the point where I transmuted enough of my own pain to be able to rise up in my vibration, because one day my Native American Indian came in and brought a nun with him, and I'm like, what? What's a nun doing here? Yeah, I'm not Catholic. Why is there in the black habit? You know, it's like Sound of Music personified. It was nuts. I'm like, well, who are you and what do you want? And he said to me, she's going to be working with you now. I'm off. And I was crying. I was like, you can't leave me after all these years. You know, he's like, no, I'm going. I've taught you everything I can. I'm going now. And off he went and left me with this nun. And I was just like, I don't even want to speak to you. Leave me alone. I don't know who you are. I don't know you. I have no relationship with you. Go away. It was really strange because I just couldn't understand it. Why I had this, because I have no connection to that, no resonance to it. But it was about a week later, I'm walking past a spiritual shop and there was angels in the window. And I just stopped and stared at this angel, went in and bought it and brought it home, put it on my mantelpiece. And I'd never had an angel before. And I suddenly twigged, that's why the nun is here, because nuns are Catholic, aren't they? And they believe in angels. I'm a Protestant. Well, I was brought up a Protestant. And we don't really do angels other than, you know, the angel Gabriel announcing the birth. That's about it with angels for us.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I was shifting into angels. And a few weeks later, I bought my first Buddha, and then Confucius, and then some Chinese gods. And I'm like, okay, I'm confused now. And my house started looking like a shop. You know, I had my crystals, I had my Indians, I had my angels, and I had my Buddhas, and it was just getting overwhelming. And it went like that for another 2 or 3 years. And it got to the point where I just thought, it's time for the Native American stuff to go now. It feels too heavy, too grounded, too earthy. I feel more floaty and higher realms now. Yeah. So I gave it all away. I had a giveaway ceremony, which is part of Native American tradition. I collected everything onto a table into my room, and I called everybody that I'd ever taught in my circles and meditation groups, and I said, help yourself, whatever you feel drawn to, take.
That's awesome.
And, yeah.
I also feel very drawn to Native American stuff. In fact, the first deck I got was the
Native American. I was born here. You're from the Americas as well, Anna, huh?
Yes.
So I have you've got that energy, your plaits and stuff as well. That's very Native American. That is.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a screen share about the Rainbow Warriors.
Okay, let's have a look. See.
Oh, hold on. Let me move this. Okay.
Oh, cool.
So can you guys see that?
Yeah.
So
and this is how we all became different colors here, by the way.
Somebody wants to read it? Ransom, do you want to read it?
Sure. This is how the rainbow prophecy begins, as retold by a woman of the Cree Indian nation, America, over a century ago. The Cree are one of the largest groups of First Nation Native Americans in North America and also one of the 5 civilized tribes. That doesn't say that, I'm just adding that. So there's Creek, Cherokee, Seminole, Choctaw, and another one I forgot.
And I'm Apache, and I was really strong about my tribe and where I wanted to go to as well. Yeah.
Right. So there are 135 brands of Cree living in Canada with a total population of approximately 200,000 today. The Rainbow Prophecy, as it has come to be known, refers to the keepers of the legend rituals and other myths that will be needed when the time comes to restore health to the earth. It is believed that these legendary beings will return one day, awakening, when all people will unite and create a new world of justice, peace, and freedom, and they will be named the Warriors of the Rainbow. They will retreat the values and the knowledges, or actually, was that, yeah, retreat the values and the knowledge that have been lost over time, demonstrating how to have wisdom and extra perception. In other words, be awake. And how unity, harmony, and love is the only way forward.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
All right, so right here in the parentheses is actually the, right here. I think, go back up a little bit in the beginning up there. All right, right here. One day the world would come a time when the earth being ravaged and polluted, the forest being destroyed, the birds would fall from the air and the waters would be blackened, the fish being poisoned in the streams, and the trees would no longer be. Mankind, as we would know it, would cease to exist. And then it goes down to there. At the beginning of this cycle of time, long ago, the Great Spirit came down and he made an appearance and he gathered the peoples of the earth together. They say on the island, which is now beneath the water, Atlantis maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Moo, one of those. But anyway, I added that part too, so don't quote that. An island which is now beneath the water, and he said to the human beings, I am going to send you in 4 directions over time. I am going to change you to 4 colors, but I am going to give you some teachings, and you will call these original teachings, and when you come back together with each other, you will share these so that you can live and have peace and on earth and have a great civilization will come about from that.
Yay. That's lovely.
And you know, like it goes on and on there. Look at that.
I used to teach all this stuff, you know, I've forgotten most of it, but I still got a lot of my notes. When I get my screen back, I'll see if I've got any. And I had some channeled information from White Eagle as well, which I wrote and shared, and it went into, there was, if I just see if I can bring him back. Let me see if I can bring him back.
You could share that link in the chat. I bet some people, because there is a lot, there's actually a lot more to it, but I'm not that great of a reader, so, you know.
I thought you read that beautifully, absolutely beautifully.
With minimal stutters this time, surprisingly. No. You should watch me do my news. I stutter through that. I rewatch it and realize I read words that weren't even there. Like the word that I see now is, and it changes the context of the whole paragraph. Yeah. You know, so I'm thinking, oh God, that was just, wow.
So Julie, were you gonna channel White Eagle?
I've just seen if I can find it.
But that's why we're all different colors, right?
There's the 4 directions there. I'll see if I can share. If I can't, I will read it.
What is this?
So yeah, that'll make people quit complaining about their colors. See, the Great Spirit did that on purpose and gave you guys all individual information so that one day you could all come back together, live in peace, and share that information. And it was talking about people wouldn't have an awakening until that time either, and their perceptions would grow, and their, you know, and that's kind of like what almost everybody on YouTube is talking about right now, that we're coming into an age where people are becoming more awake.
I was about to say that.
Understanding truths that maybe they didn't understand in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trippy, man.
It is, but it's good trippy.
Yes.
And that coming from, as I'm known now, it's like people keep joking, the cussing monk.
Yeah. Who's the cussing
So
monk?
funny because my kid made that up, so it's funny now. It's out on the internet now.
How do I copy the link and put it on the chat? How do I copy the link on my computer?
Right click. Oh, I see. I don't know. Go to your browser and then go to the top of the browser to the page you opened, and then right click, copy link, and then go to your chat room and paste it.
I can't. Okay, copy. I don't know if this is gonna do it.
I think it will. That's just if you guys want to read the rest of the prophecy, because it goes on a little bit. And there's several different Indian nations that tell it a different way.
I've got some stuff here, all right, so I can't, I don't want to share it, but here you go. So, yeah, I might be able to share it. Let me have a go.
Yeah, I know about that. It's the
I'll just read it. Shall I? Be easier if I just read it. So the four directions, these are known as north, east, south, and west, or the circle of life. The circle holds physical, mental, spiritual, and natural aspects of man. The four directions provide a roadmap for people seeking to achieve balance and harmony in their lives. Through meditation, we can join with the spirits of the sacred circle. We're born into the center of the circle, our first contact with Mother Earth. In the center of the circle, all the forces are in balance, the place where creation flows. The medicine wheel is life in a circle. It shows our connection to all things and is a way of understanding the many powers that create and affect life. These are the powers that hold the universe in balance. East is the fire and the spiritual realm, the color yellow. The east, the spirit path, the place of the rising sun. It is a place of beginnings and endings, of vision and inspiration. It is symbolized by the eagle, the visionary, the one who can see the spiritual big picture. The East teaches us to respect the dignity of everything. Everything has its own spirit. The healing of the East helps us to understand our own personal choices and the responsibility for those choices. The East is where we go for guidance. The South is water and emotion. The color is red. The South is the peace path. It is the place of trust and innocence, the time of childhood and of the heart. Here we experience the world as alive, shimmering and connected. It is also the place where we learn to overcome our fear. Snake is one of the totems and says we must shed our past in order to grow and move on. The South helps energize the life force of the body and the soul. We can link here with the spirit animals and plants and use their knowledge to heal. The West is earth and physical. The color is black. The West is the place of the setting sun, where we go inwards to do our inner work. It is a place of introspection, but it also symbolizes the physical, the here and now. It is the place of bear, who hibernates and dreams, and of owl, who knows the night. And the North, the air, the mental, the color is white. The North is the place the sun doesn't reach. It represents the wisdom path. It is the teaching path you learn and share. It takes a lifetime to learn the teachings of the North. It is winter where the ground is frozen and we have to cooperate to survive. It is the place of wisdom and intellect and right action. Wolf is one of the totems, for he is teacher, direction finder and keeper of the family. It is the place of white and spiritual maturity. The four directions, also known as the four winds, or the four archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. The energies come in the form of a spiral. So there we go, guys. That's what I got for you.
There they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's your spiral.
Oh, wow.
That says Chalaki Hohya, which means Cherokee wolf. That's essentially what you just read.
Wow.
In pictorial form.
So cool.
Okay. All right. Kelly's saying that was beautiful. Good, good. Totally random, but why is a rabbit's foot considered lucky? Joe, I have no idea. Anybody else know the answer to that?
Well, because a rabbit is very fast, so for one to have caught a rabbit, that's pretty lucky. And if you know, you didn't have dinner yet, it's very lucky. I'm serious. I'm thinking back to primitive people that made up these sayings that keep traveling down the generations. You know, and at one time that may have been extreme luck to catch a rabbit.
Yeah.
And they kept the foot. To remember that time I caught that rabbit when we were starving? That was so lucky.
Well, Mrs. Seven Serpent says it's not lucky for the rabbit. And
I know, and I was about to say that. That's how psychic of you, Miss Seven Serpents. That was literally my next comment was, yeah, for the poor rabbit, it wasn't so lucky, though.
Yeah.
All right. So have we got any other questions about dreams? Because we've seemed to have shifted subject, but that's all right. We often do this, don't we? We wander off onto different, because that's the whole point of a discussion. People are bringing up different things, and I love the way the conversation goes off on different tangents, and it gets all diverse, and that's the way it should be, because we're here.
Dreams are mind-boggling. I mean, we could talk forever trying to explain dreams.
Yeah.
I tried to study for this, and I got overwhelmed because I was looking at all of every word has an association with dream, like just everything you could think of, from vampires to whatever, you know, like that means a certain something, or at least someone says it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of feeling for me that the energy is starting to kind of come to a close. I don't know if you're feeling that as well. If you want to carry on, but or do we feel that it's time to wrap it up now?
Well,
yeah, I think so.
It is late lunchtime.
Yeah. All right. So before we go, I want to let you guys know that on Thursday, I'm going to be doing a live meditation for the full moon on the 1st of March. I'm going to be doing, it's already, I've put it up on the channel already and on Facebook. So it's going to be 8 o'clock GMT. And that's going to be, it's all there on the details of what time it'll be anyway for you guys. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it on my own, because every time I go live with other people, it seems I don't get it right. But I'm going to do that one on my own. So we're going to have a chat about it, because this new moon is all about healing energy. It's a full moon in Virgo. And this enables you to do an awful lot of healing. We've got Chiron involved as the wounded healer. We've got planets trining and stuff. So we'll have a chat about that on Thursday if you want to join me. And also to say thank you all, because I've reached quite a milestone on my channel. And it means that I now am part of the YouTube community, because I've done my 4,000 hours of watch time, which has happened in 2 months, and that's
that's awesome, Julie. Congrats.
It's amazing. It's you guys, so thank you for finding my channel interesting and my work interesting and supporting me. And I love doing these collaborations with others as well. Miss Niz tonight. Niz, if you're watching, love you. Hope you feel better soon. She's not very well.
Yeah, I want to send some healing vibes to her. So everybody in the chat, please send some healing vibes to Niz.
Yeah, lots and lots of healing. And I will be doing some recordings this week, ready for next week's weeklies and getting them up for you. Your March's readings are already up per sign. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm going to close it now and thank my co-hosts, Anna Ravenwolf and Ransom Godwin, for their undeniable charm, knowledge, and inspiration, as always.
Yeah, good night, everyone, and have a happy Sunday. Thank you for being here.
Take care. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Mine is offline. And you recording, Ransom, or who's recording?
I was recording, but I thought I was recording earlier, but I wasn't, so it's a little late.
Well, mine's recorded, so I could send you a link to it, and you can edit it and chuck it up on yours if you want to, babe.
Yes, I actually have, like, one Sunday, there's going to be a bunch of stuff from other channels all on one day. I was going to, like, rerun the crap out of it one day. Because I have a bunch of recorded stuff with you, what it is, and then
shows that it's still live streaming on my computer for some reason.
Well, you might be. I try to let the shows play on your guys' channels, because you know most of the subs are the same subs, so they've already seen it anyway. And then if they didn't, then they get a chance for a rerun when it's not so fresh.
Yeah,
So everybody's saying thank you for Julie Ransom for the dream show and stuff.
Cool. I was glad to participate.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was great. I really enjoyed that. It was a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you. And
Thank you, Julie.
see you all soon. Okay.
All right.
I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Julie.
Bye.